What is up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of the Building a Buzz podcast. I'm your host, Justin Buzzi. This podcast is all about how to better yourself, your business, and hopefully achieve your own idea of success. I'll be hosting all of the episodes and will definitely bring on some fun guests to pick their brain and hopefully give you some insightful tips and tricks on how to build your own buzz. All right, guys, so I want to give you just a little bit of an introduction so you can really understand where I'm coming from. And when I'm giving you guys these episodes, I want to make sure you guys kind of understand what I've been through and how I've gotten to where I am now. I think it'll add a lot of context along the way. So I was born in Jensen Beach, Florida. I'm 28 years old as of right now. It's September of 2019. I started out as a rapper slash musician in about 2003. So I've been making music now for about 15 years, and I really pushed that grind from when I was about 18 till when I was about 23. So there was a good 5 years in there where I was pushing it really hard and really trying to make it as a musician. I still do make music, not as much anymore, just because I've kind of figured out what pays the bills, and I spent a lot of time making music and unfortunately not getting a whole lot of return for it. I'll go through more of my music grind in some of the episodes, but for now, I just wanted you guys to know that so you can kind of understand again where I'm coming from here. So as I was doing that, I was also in college. I went to UCF, the University of Central Florida. Go Knights. I graduated there in 2013. When I was working there, I had a couple different jobs. I was working at a couple different golf courses. I actually was a porter at a marina. So if you don't know what that means, it pretty much means that I was cleaning the bathrooms and taking out the trash every day. So that was really fun. And then right when I graduated college, I unfortunately had to quit my job at the golf course because it just wasn't going to make ends meet for me and allow me to save money, which is what I was really trying to do. So I moved back home for a couple months, kind of bounced around different locations, went and lived with my mom for a little bit, and then I moved in with my dad actually on the yacht that he's a captain of. And I did some backbreaking work for a couple weeks and realized that tearing up teak decks on yachts was not for me. So I continued to look for different jobs, and one popped up right in Stuart, Florida, which is where I'm from, at Cotton & Company. I went and worked there for a few months. They're a real estate marketing firm. I learned a lot about account management while I was there and also some back-end marketing stuff of real estate. So that was a good time. And then eventually I found myself working for Golf Now, which is a part of the Golf Channel. And while I was working here, I started out as a customer service representative and then worked my way up to a pricing analyst. So I think I got about 4 promotions while I was there. I worked there for 3 years. And in that time, I actually started up the company now that I own, which is Get Up and Go Kayaking. So it's been kind of a long journey jumping around from job to job after I finished college and really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But I kind of knew the whole time that I was really looking for a career where I could work for myself or, potentially be my own boss. And really that's what I figured out a way to do with Get Up and Go Kayaking, and eventually started the company in 2016. Like I said, I was still working at the Golf Channel at the time, but found the opportunity and really jumped right into it. And I'm really glad that I did, because looking back at it, the level that it's at now is something that I had always hoped for. But when you start your own business, there's always going to be the doubts and hesitations. But now that I sit here, we have 125 million views across all of the social media platforms for Get Up and Go Kayaking. So it's been really validating, looking back and seeing how far we've come from 2016 until now, 3 years later. The amount of growth that the company has had has just been really incredible. And I'm super thankful that I started Get Up and Go Kayaking. And when you kind of look around at the other outdoor recreation companies, it's really phenomenal how far ours has come in such a short amount of time. Getting 125 million views is kind of unheard of in the outdoor recreation space. So it's been a really cool thing for me, and then also for the company. Now that we're a franchise, I've been able to kind of provide for my family, my friends that are involved, the tour guides that are involved, and that's really been one of the most rewarding things about the company, is just being able to provide for others and give others an opportunity to succeed alongside, and really for me to be able to help them grow as either a business owner or as a person. And I really look forward to giving you guys some techniques and tips and tricks on the things and methods that I've used along the way to grow the company, to get it to where it's at now. So I think I can really help provide some value when you're looking for different ways to grow a business or ways to stand out. All of these different things that I feel like I can give you guys a little extra value with, I think would also really help you if you're trying to grow your own business or, just get yourself into a better position. I think there's going to be a lot of value on the show. So make sure to subscribe, of course. But now I'll go into kind of how I started Get Up and Go Kayaking and why I started Get Up and Go Kayaking. So it really started, like I said, about 3 years ago, over 3 years ago now. My girlfriend Tia and I went to Blue Springs, which is a spring here in Central Florida. And there was a line of cars waiting to get in. There was actually a state worker that was standing at the gate just turning everyone away because they were at capacity. And it was like 9 or 10 in the morning. So it was already early in the day and they had already reached their capacity. So I knew that there was a high demand for doing these outdoor activities, especially in the middle of the summertime here in Florida. So we pulled over on the side of the road at a gas station, and there was a couple other cars that did the same thing. The car next to us actually pulled out like an old school map, which I thought was kind of funny because we're sitting there, like on our iPhones looking for things to do, and they were just over there on a map. And so the whole ride home, we called these different springs, we called different companies, and it was the same story at all of them. They were all completely either sold out or at capacity. So, it really confirmed my thoughts that the amount of demand is crazy in the summertime for all of these outdoor activities. So when we got home, I did some more research. We ended up just hanging out by the pool and kind of talking about how crazy it was that there was nowhere that we could get in just for the day or just for a couple hours. And I continued to do the research on other companies that might be in the area. And as you can imagine, the kayak and canoe outdoor recreation space, there's a lot of, I would say, older generation owners. So a lot of the companies that I would find, it seemed like their websites were just like really out of date, or they didn't understand how social media worked too well. And for me, that presented a cool opportunity because I had my marketing degree from UCF, and I figured this could be a really cool way to put it to use. So within the next day or two, I started putting together a business plan, and then realized how much opportunity there was as I continued to, dig into the outdoor recreation space and tourism in the Orlando area. I realized that the opportunity was really, really good, and I immediately jumped on the opportunity to open up a kayak company. And along the way, I had seen Clear Kayaks online, so it wasn't my idea, but no one was using them, and no one was using them to give tours in. So that's really where I thought I could do something different than what was being done. And so I went to the bank. I took out a business loan. I took out $12,000 to start the company, and off I was. Within the next 2 weeks, I went and got a couple Clear Kayaks from up in the Panhandle and started the company. So it was such a quick process. I didn't realize how fast it was going to be when the idea came to fruition to when I actually started the company, but I knew there would be a lot of marketing value if I was the first to market. So I put a lot of weight into that, and that's really why I jumped right on it. And, I saw the opportunity, and I knew that I had to go for it. And looking back now, I'm so glad that I did, but it was definitely a grind while I was working at Golf Now. Like I said, started the company up. So I was really working 2 full-time jobs. At Golf Now, I was working 8 or 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and sometimes on the weekends. So I would really only be able to focus on the kayaking company when I wasn't at work or on the weekends when I had free time. And that took up a lot of my free time. And honestly, when the company started really gaining some tractions, it took up all of my free time. So the first summer, the summer of 2017, I was completely busy, which was kind of insane looking back at it. I would go to my normal 9 to 5, and then after work, I would go either give like a sunset tour or I would go and give a bioluminescent tour. And the nights that I would do the bioluminescent tour, sometimes I would give 3 tours. So I would give one at 8 p.m., 10 p.m., and then at midnight. And I wouldn't get done until 1:30 in the morning. And mind you, it's like an hour and 15-minute drive from where I was living at the time. So I would have to drive all the way back. And then once I got back, I would clean all the kayaks off, put them away, store them, and then try and get some sleep before I had to be up for work the next morning. So I was really getting to bed at like 4 a.m. and waking up, sometime in the 7 a.m. hour. So the amount of hours that I put in was crazy. And I did this day in and day out for a whole summer. And then, like I said, every weekend I was working daytimes, going to the springs and giving tours. So I was busy 7 days a week, but, I was super motivated to make the company successful. And I knew in the back of my head always that I've wanted to do something for myself and be my own boss, like I said earlier. So I really put my all into it and saw where it was going and knew that I could get it to a level that I needed it to be in order for me to quit my full-time job. So I think it was September of 2017 when I officially resigned from my full-time job at Golf Now and decided to put all my effort into Get Up and Go kayaking. And this was an interesting time because I quit there, my full-time job, it's guaranteed money, and it was good money, honestly. And then all of a sudden I quit and a hurricane comes through. It was Hurricane Irma. And I was out of business now for a month after the hurricane came out. So I was kind of like, oh shit. But it was also a super interesting time because this is when Get Up and Go kayaking started going viral. So my girlfriend and I had sent along like all of our footage and pictures and everything that we had to all of these viral sites like BuzzFeed, Insider, Travel and Leisure, all of these big travel sites, pretty much right when we started the company up. So this was, a year and a half after the company has already been operating. And finally, someone from Insider reached out to us via Instagram and said, "Hey, I really love your videos. Do you mind if we share them on Insider?" And at the time, I believe Insider had like 20 million followers on Facebook. And I was like, of course, yeah, why not? So I sent them all the footage that we had, and they posted it within the next couple days. And the first day that it was posted, it had like 4 million views. And once this happened, I think all of the other viral sites like started to take notice and really wanted to follow suit. So they reached out, pages like I said, BuzzFeed, Yahoo, Travel and Leisure, all of these big travel sites started reaching out. And just viral sites in general that wanted to post our content. And so I send them all our content. Everyone starts posting it. Before you know it, we have like 20 million views within the first couple days of the video being posted. So that meant we were getting phone calls all hours of the day. We were having so many emails that we had to stay up until like 2 or 3 a.m., literally just responding to every email. At the time, we actually didn't have a great way to make reservations, so we were doing a lot of that manually. Just a lot of things that came from going viral that kept me busy, even though the hurricane was here, but it kind of was crappy timing because we were out of business, but yet we had all this demand for our business. So it allowed me to hire and really look at getting on some tour guides. So I wasn't the one doing all of the, phone calls, emails, all of the back end stuff, and also doing all of the customer facing stuff, like actually giving the tours. So I hired my first tour guide. His name is Alex. He was a really awesome tour guide. And unfortunately, after 2 or 3 months of working for me, he did pass away. He was cave diving in a different spring on one of his days off and unfortunately never resurfaced. So that was a really difficult time, but it was really cool that he was like The first person that I hired, he actually reached out to me directly on Instagram and was like, hey, I love the springs. I go kayaking, on my days off. He was working at a restaurant at the time. So going viral was really cool because it opened up all these different opportunities for me, and being able to hire someone and eventually hire multiple people really allowed me to focus more on the business. And this is when the business really started growing. The idea of franchising the company came into play, and I started getting the wheels in motion for that as well. And then over the next 6 to 8 months, that's really when I started fine-tuning the franchise process. I reached out to a company that helped me build out the franchise, make sure everything legally was correct, and really took all the proper steps to make sure that franchising was the right way to go and that we had the right documentation for anyone that was looking to franchise. So it was this real long process, but in going viral, it opened up all these awesome opportunities. And, I like to spread word about how important it is to post as much content as you can, because that's ultimately what got us to that viral level, was just continually posting content and continually just, bringing out my phone when I'm out on these tours and taking pictures and, making sure that no matter what, you're getting as much content as you can, and not only getting the content, but posting it every day. And, just being consistent really made us stand out amongst the competition, especially having clear kayaks. Of course, that gave us another leg up on just being unique and this really novelty thing within the outdoor recreation space. And so here we are today with 6 different franchise locations. I own 2 locations, like I said, so there's a total of 8 different locations that we have going on right now. So the amount of growth has just been crazy. I'm really excited to talk more about how we made that happen and the exact steps that I took along the way. And like I mentioned earlier in the episode too, I do look forward to talking a little bit about the music industry. I also shoot some music videos and travel videos on the side, so I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit along the way as well. And I have a lot of cool guests lined up, so please make sure you guys follow along on my social medias at @J_Buzzi. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 1. Let me know any topics you guys want me to talk about in future episodes, or potentially any guests that you guys want me to get on. I'd be more than happy to reach out and see if we can make that happen for you. But as for now, I'm out. This is Building a Buzz podcast, and I'm your host, Justin Buzzi.